Hey peeps, welcome to another video. It's part 3 of the McCalls 6696 shirt dress sew along, and we will be doing French seaming the pockets, forming the pleats and completing the skirt. Let's get started.
Okay, so next up it wants us to work on the skirts, and what we're going to do is make the pleats on the skirt front and the skirt back. And you want to bring the lines of the large circles, bring the lines of the small circles and bring them to the lines of the large circles. Basically you want to pleat away from the front towards the side where the pocket's going to be, and then when you've pinned them all in place you want to baste it. Okay, so I have my skirt front here. This is the side where the pocket is because that's where the notch is, and the markings that I did transfer over, apparently I did not. Oh yes, no, there they are. So the markings are transferred over. And basically what you want to do is pleat towards that. I personally just cut in little notches for each pleat marking and make sure that I am pleating over to the other one. So let me show you. Okay, so again, this is very strange trying to do this using the camera as my viewfinder. But anyway, so this is the small one and this is the large circle. So you want to bring your small notch over to your large notch, and pin. And you want to make sure that it's flat all along the top there, so I'm going to put in another pin. Okay, so this is your next pleat, the next 2 notches along, so you're going to want to bring this one over to just matching up the notches that you've made. Okay, so got all your pleats in place. Now what you want to do is baste along just above the seam allowance, so at 1/2 inch. Okay, so they're all basted down. I am going to give them a little bit of a press, which will help them just behave themselves a little bit more, but I'm also going to do this to the other front side panel of the skirt. Okay, so it wants you to do the same thing on the back panels of the skirt. The first thing it wants you to do is stitch your skirt back panels together. Now, because mine is a border print, so I've cut everything on the cross grain, I actually don't have a back seam. I eliminated that. Took it off the pattern, or folded it over on the pattern and cut this on the fold. So I have marked the centre back, and then so the back pleat is quite a large one, so I've brought that over and pinned that down, and then got all my other pleats marked on here in the same manner, so I'm just going to pleat both sides of the skirt in exactly the same way as I did the front panel. So the next process it wants us to do is stitch the pockets on to the side of the skirt with the right sides together, but I'm going to do it so that the pockets are French seamed in, so that there are no raw edges, nothing to cover up with bias binding. So let me show you how I do that. Okay, so I have my 4 pocket pieces that I've cut out, and I'm going to put them into pairs because I have done it before where I've sewn them completely incorrectly. So we have one pair and another pair. Okay, now what you want to do now is take one piece from each pair and attach it to the front skirt piece, and you're going to do that wrong sides together. Let me show you. So these are the 2 skirt front panels, and these are the markings for where the pocket opening should be left open, and these are pocket pieces, so like I say, you want to attach them right sides together and pin them down. Okay, so they're all pinned down wrong sides together, and so now I'm going to sew down this part here at 1/4 inch. Same for this side. Okay, so the pocket's been sewn on at a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, so I am now going to trim this to half of it, and I'm going to stop and cut in and trim to there so that the skirt seam allowance stays intact. Okay, so I've trimmed the seam allowance down all the way, and as you can see there, I have left the skirt seam allowance intact, so I'm now going to go and press the pockets. Okay, so after having trimmed the seams, I have pressed the pockets back on themselves so that I can sew the final seam that's going to encase this raw edge. So I'm going to sew down here to there, again at a 1/4 of an inch, and that's so that the pockets will kind of be inset in the 5/8 of an inch seam allowance that the skirt has, but I will show you when I'm done. Okay, so the other 1/4 of an inch seam allowance right down to this point. This is what you want. You want your skirt seam allowance to be poking out like that. When you turn this back over, and all of your raw edges are encased on both sides. So I'm now going to press this open, and this will end up being what the skirt panel will look like when you sew it to the back panel. Is the standard pocket open like that, and you just then sew the back panel to the front panel around the edge as you usually would, and again I'm going to French seam that so that all of these raw edges will be enclosed. So I've done exactly the same process with the pockets on the skirt back piece as well. So now that everything is enclosed and all French seamed, I'm going to attach the skirt front to the skirt back. So with the instructions, what it wants you to do is put the two pieces together, and it wants you to sew from the top of the pocket, leaving this bit open, all the way down to there, and then down to the end of the seam and secure. Then what it wants you to do is stitch from the marking that you've put on there up to the top, and again that will secure the side seam and just allow your pocket to be usable. Okay, so I've got the front panel pinned to the back panel of the skirt, wrong sides together, all the way around, and I've got the seam allowances pressed to the inside of the pocket there, and they are lying flat here as well. And so you're going to start French seaming as usual, so sewing at a 1/4 of an inch all the way along the way you've pinned, and you're going to pivot at this point. Okay, so we're getting up to the pivot point, and what I like to do is reduce my stitch length down to 1.5, just to add a little bit of sturdiness to this part of the seam. And so once I've got to that pivot point and actually have pivoted, I've gone down about 1 inch, and then I've just brought my stitch length back up to 2.5 for the standard stitch length that you're going to be using to sew the rest of the seam. Okay, so let me just give you a close-up of this join here. So slightly out on my 1/4 of an inch in here, but that's okay because that's the pocket, so it's not the end of the world. And that's what the back side looks like. So now I'm going to do exactly the same for the other side, and then I'm going to trim all the way around here down to 1/8 of an inch all around, as you would usually do with a French seam. Okay, so once everything has been sewn together, you need to trim off your half of the seam allowance, so you go down to about 1/8 of an inch from the stitching line. So I'm going to do that all the way around. So everything is trimmed down, and I'm now going to press both of the seams to the other side so I can finish doing the French seam. Okay, so I have pressed everything, and I am now going to sew the final part of the French seam, which is the 3/8 of an inch all the way around the edge. And again, when I get into this kind of point here, I reduce my stitch length to 1.5 so that again this area just has a little bit more reinforcement. Okay, so sewing the rest of the French seam with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, and I'm going to go and press that. Now, because you sewed the pockets at 1/4 and 1/4, you should be over by about 1/8 here, so that the pocket will be inset, but when I press it I'll show you what that means. So the final step for the pockets is to sew from the top down to the first large circle that you have marked on your pattern. So do that on both sides. like that. Okay, so next it wants you to turn the pockets towards the front of the skirt and baste it along the top edge. So I have pinned my pieces in place and I'm just going to baste them down along there. So pockets all basted down, and then when you come to the front, so your inseam pockets are really inseam because you did the pockets and they're 1/4 and 1/4, so that just means that they're set back a little bit from the actual seam allowance of the skirt portion. So yeah, inseamed French pockets. These pockets are tiny though, so yeah, but worth it if you like pockets in a dress.
So I hope you found that useful. If you have any questions at all, please let me know in the comments down below. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't yet, please subscribe, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye!